just said, Tony, I don't let anyone dictate where I go next. I go where wherever the music takes me or wherever I'm feeling right now. I don't concern myself with how my fans may take it. It's me
Mhm.
creating. This is my vision. This is what I'm feeling right now. So either you come aboard or you don't. It's all good. This is what I'm going to do. So I need you to be able to take that approach.
Welcome to Musicians Reveal. Up next, tremendous rapper, guitarist, dancer, and longtime member with Prince and the New Power Generation. We finally can say Tony Mosley, also better known Tony M, is in the house. How you doing, Tone?
What's up, Joe? How you
Yeah.
doing, man? Appreciate it. Love the intro, man. Makes it sound like I actually did something.
No, you did. I mean, you were there. You were there for some big transition with Prince's sound and everything like that. So
Sure enough, sure
yeah.
enough.
So you're representing with the MPG. Nice hat there.
Represent, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm in the home studio in the back, so it's kind of uh, doubles as my day job and then my passion back there behind me. So
Yeah, yeah. The passion doesn't have to pay because you love it, right?
that's it,
Yeah,
and it allows me sanity during my regular work.
right. Hey, you're looking good. Look like you dropped some weight too. You're looking good.
Yeah, thank you, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah, I've come down quite a bit, so it's a work in progress, but we've been able to maintain it. So that's the
right.
that's the that's the main thing, right? Not just losing it. Can you maintain it? You don't want it popping back,
Yeah.
3, 4 months down the road. So yeah, doing good, man.
So
Thank you. I
we get
appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. We got to get some business out of the way. Were you a fan, of course, of the T Wolves
That's a
basketball?
sort. It's too soon.
Okay,
It's
because I'm
too
gonna
soon for
say
that count. It's just too soon, Joe.
okay,
Stop. I'm gonna stop you right now.
right.
It's too soon for that conversation.
Well, I'm gonna be joining in the consolation round. My
Yes, you
Knicks,
will.
they
Yes, you
don't look
will.
too good. I mean, it.
Yeah, it's probably the most unsexy NBA finals that you will ever see.
Yeah, yeah,
OKC and Indiana. I'm like, there, no one's tuning into that, and I'm sure
right,
that's not what the NBA wanted.
right. So you got to give me off the top of your head a starting five from the Minneapolis Crew, Prince and the New Power Generation, or the Time, all those guys for a basketball team. I,
Oh, okay. Off the top, I would play the four,
okay,
five. Just uh, I like to bang in the paint. I like the physicality of it. Damon Dixon would be my guard. Him and I played uh, together at North High, so he knows where to feed me, how to feed me. Um, I would probably bring in Jerome Benton
oh,
as
okay,
another guard. He's a football player, but he's quick and shifty. Um, and then let me see who I would have at my other forward spot. Ooh, probably Dwayne Nelson.
oh, okay, yeah, he was a tall dude,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
Yeah,
Dwayne Nelson. So what do I got there? One, two, three, four. I got four already.
yeah, you got it. Oh, you got to put Prince.
I don't have to put
Oh, yeah,
Prince,
you
but
don't
I
have
will.
to.
I will put Prince because he, he
Okay,
he was a baller.
yeah, we
He
got to
was a
keep the level
baller.
going, right?
Yep, exactly. So that's four, and then I got one more. I would probably add. Ooh, I'm gonna get cussed out for this. I'm a waffle. It's it's
Okay.
it's between Hucky and Gilbert Davidson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
some
because we
strong
we had
dudes, right?
lots of pickup games with the fellas.
Right.
So much so that Prince would tell them to stop playing basketball with us before shows
Yeah, because you
because
had yeah,
yeah, we had a 2.5 3 hour show, and
yeah.
we done probably played five pickup games before that, and we're a little wore out come toward the end of the show.
And plus you had a job that entailed you stayed in one piece.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's why there was no extracurricular work and or excursions to be done. He would cancel all of that just because of our nightly shows and just
Right.
the volume of responsibility that we had during those shows.
So of course, you're from North Minneapolis, and
Yes,
born and
sir.
raised there. And
NFL
what?
baby, North Side for life.
Okay, NFL, right? Yeah. So
That's
so
it.
the first encounter with Prince, Do you remember exactly where it was?
Um, you mean when I actually seen him or when we actually interacted?
A little bit of both, maybe.
Okay, so well, first visual and knowing who he was probably some of the Battle of the Bands that we used to have at the Way in North Minneapolis on Plymouth Avenue.
Hmm.
That's kind of like where we all, cut our teeth with Spike Moss and him being able to have that vehicle for us to perform. You can imagine probably back in the mid to late '70s, there was not, as far as the African American community, very small, and there just weren't venues that were booking bands. So, Flight Time couldn't play anywhere. Um, Grand Central could not play anywhere. You name it. Family. I mean, no one. There was no place to book a gig. So a lot of people ask, "Where did the Minneapolis sound derive from?" From woodshedding. I mean, you woodshedded all winter, and then
Hmm.
when the summer time came around, you had your opportunity to show what you've been working on during these festivals and Battle of the Bands
Right.
in Minneapolis. And then that's when you really started to see, wow, okay, this cat right here. I
Hmm.
mean, I know all these other fellas, right? Like Terry Lewis used to be my Pop Warner football coach at
Oh,
Hospitality House.
uh-huh.
Jerome and I, we all went to school and grew up in the projects together. So I've known these cats, pretty much all my life,
Right.
right? In one form or fashion. Prince was different. He didn't live where we lived at, but you knew of him. It just through speak, and then when you finally got an opportunity to see him perform and do his thing, you knew why Jimmy Jam and Terry and all the other musicians that you knew about were just so flabbergasted by his talent, and Sonny Thompson
Hmm.
were, just like, man, this cat's something different.
But you played guitar in high school as well. I mean, we know you as on the mic, but tell us
Hmm.
about your guitar getting into that instrument.
Yeah, well, my grandfather gave me an old Les Paul, and
Oh, okay.
like a knucklehead. It was a vintage, and I sold it. Just being a knucklehead, man, that thing would be worth so much right now. It's ridiculous. So that he gave me my first guitar, and that's when I started delving into playing. And again, it was I think I took one or two music classes in theory, and I'm just like, dude, this ain't it for me. I don't want to learn how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, care about theory. I just want to play. So I
Right.
started learning just by ear and picking up and learning chords and playing notes that way. And then eventually, as Sonny would tell me, he said, Tony, that's why you got pocket. You just learned on feel and
Mm,
not thinking
yeah.
about structure and reading structure and where comes into that. It's just all feel, whether you're a little
Mhm.
behind the beat, so you had that pocket, you knew where to fit in. And I think that's just some learning by ear and just, just playing, man, playing.
You always have the stylish guitars. I got to give you credit for that. Some of them even outshone Prince's guitars. To be honest, they're nice. You have a
I had a
preference?
couple. I had a couple he wouldn't allow me to have on stage because he was like, "Wait a minute, I got to get my piano painted that color." And yeah, there
Oh,
was a
okay.
lots of conversations around that, man. So, my favorite, probably my Schecters right now.
Hmm.
Um, I have a Corsair, and then I have another custom that just came through. So I've been using those. I love the hollow body. I love the sound of a hollow body. Again, I'm not a solo guitar player. It's more rhythms, and I like to just be a part of the sound and
Hmm.
chunky. So I love the full body sounds of my hollow bodies.
You're working up to give Levi a break on some of those solos.
No, not hardly him or Mike Scott. I'll let them
Yeah,
handle that, bro.
yeah, that's right.
I tell them stay away from the mic. I'll stay away from the guitar solos.
Yeah, Gary Hines. I remember he's been on the show several times. He's was hitting me up to get Scott back to play with Sounds of Blackness. Yeah. So, but
Mike's a beast, man. Him and Levi, man.
yeah, great
Those are my
musicians.
my
Yeah,
mentors,
yeah,
and even I can't discount my little brother, Home Road Dale. I mean, he's
yeah,
been
yeah.
there for
From
me
Mint
from day
Condition.
one, and yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So let's get back to our friend Damon Dixon has told the infamous story continues that the Purple Rain days when you guys, thanks to your mom for letting you rehearse quickly overnight in her apartment, but you had an interesting bathroom encounter with Prince that led eventually to being featured in Purple Rain and other things, right?
So bizarre, right? I mean, we were extras on the set. We had gone through these uh, dance contest nights that First Avenue would have.
Hmm.
And so they would have a cabaret night, a dance contest night, and you kind of go through. And Damon and I were a duo at the time, and we won and won for like 5 or 6 weeks straight. Then B Train, which was Kirk Johnson, Pat
Right.
Adams, and Scott Zeke, we call him,
Hmm.
were B Train. They bumped us off, and they won for about 5 or 6 weeks straight. Well, during that time, I think they had talent scouts out just looking for people who wanted to be extras in the movie, and we were like, yeah, sure. Well, when we got there, it come to find out they had too many extras for some of these concert scenes. So we ended up being wranglers, and I'm like, what the hell is a wrangler? And what do you mean? Well, you guys get to go to the pool of where all the talent is or all the people are, and you get to bring them in for scenes. I said, so you mean we're not even going to be in anything?
Yeah,
And
that's.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we did that, and then there happened to be this the night before they were getting ready to do a bunch of concert footage
Hmm.
at First Avenue, and we were in between lighting changes. We happened to be in the bathroom. It was Kirk and the fellas. We were all up there just dancing. We had a little boom box in there, just doing our thing. And Prince walked in and watched us for like 15, 20 minutes. Didn't say a word, man. Just watched us and then left. And at the end of the day, we got that famous tap on the shoulder where Alan Lees came over and said, Prince would like you guys to put together some rap routines. And we did it, man, luckily. And Prince has a way of putting you on the spot,
Right.
and he works so fast. So
Hmm.
I think the sheer volume of what he asked us to do was like crazy, but we did it. We came back at 6 a.m. the next morning, ready to film, and blew him away, man. So that was our indoctrination into his work ethic and what he was looking for. So
And if I'm sure most of our viewers know this, but those are just popping in for the first time. Purple Rain up on the balcony at First Avenue. Tony, Damon, and Kirk, and a few of your old running buddies up there.
yep.
That was cool. That was just such a great era.
Well, let me tell
Yeah.
you. I mean, like I said, we did full 6 or 7 full dance routines, the full songs, Computer Blue, the Times music, everybody. We did all this work, and I remember we were Prince flew us out to uh, to Hollywood for the premiere of Purple
Hmm.
Rain, and he was going to have us. We got a call to say, "Hey, we'd like you guys to work on a routine for a song that Prince has not even promoted yet, but he's not performing it, but he would like somebody to lip sync to it." And it was Erotic City. So we
Yeah.
did Erotic City out in California, and just that trust to allow us to do that. I remember how excited we were to get our first Vaughn and Lewis suits. You remember Vaughn and
Yeah.
Lewis? Those were designers back in the
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah.
they made
Right.
we got fitted for new outfits and every man. We were just like, "Lit, you got to be this is crazy." And so here we were, man, out of nowhere. I was still in the Marine Corps.
Right.
You know, and I had been out in Cali before. I guess being stationed out there, but I had never been in the Hollywood Cali, right?
Hmm.
So it was different, man. It was exciting. I think it Purple Rain, along with some of the parties, after parties that he would invite us to, and we would just come up, man, and just dance. We would come to rehearsals. We'd find out when rehearsals were, and we would just show up and just do dance routines. So I think it was our hustle and our grind that Prince noticed and saw. It didn't happen when we thought it was going to happen. We just knew we was going on tour for Purple Rain.
Right.
Um, and I remember during the premiere, he kind of pulled us aside, and I think he was just giving us a heads up that all the dance routines that we did were cut down to that snippet, that point 0.5 seconds of work you saw us do in Purple
On the
Rain.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
on the movie
right.
itself, right? We weren't quite prepared for that. He was giving us a heads up, but we weren't prepared for what we saw. And but again, it was our first break. It was our and like I said, I think he just appreciated our grind and our hustle and our, he knew we wanted it, and it just
Mm.
wasn't our time at that particular time.
But he kept you guys on ice, gave you hope, and then there was disappointment and everything, all
Right.
through preparation. What was the tour? Was it Sign of the Times, or was it the tour that you guys were so pissed you guys went to the bar and had a few extras?
Yeah, you've heard this one before. Yeah,
Yeah, Damon mentioned it. Yeah.
absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah. We I think what's the sign of the times? No, no, no. It was it Love?
Love
Was it
Sexy?
Love Sexy? I think it was Love Sexy.
Okay.
Anyway, we were going out. We were out at Paisley almost every day, just again grinding. Hopefully, and then we come up and do dance routines with Sheila and Kat and everybody, and we just knew we were going to get that opportunity. Again, everything happens for a reason, right? I look back in hindsight, of course, now, and I realize that if we'd have been given that opportunity during Purple Rain
Hmm.
or subsequent tours after that, would I have been in a position to uh, write lyrics? Right? Would I have been in a position to play guitar at that particular point? Right? I mean, he had everything lined up. I'd have just probably just been a dancer,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then toured and that would have been it. So everything happens in his time and in his reason. And Prince is he was a loyalist, man. You know, if you gave him your time and you proved yourself, he kept you around. And what we didn't know that internally they were going through changes with at the time disbanding, right? Jerome coming in with
Right.
the family, and he was just trying to find, I think, pieces and places to put people who have been there, right? So again, it just wasn't our time. But yeah, we were salty, man. We went to it was an old restaurant downtown Minneapolis in the city center called Nankin's, and they had this drink called the Wanderer's Punch. It's this huge massive drink, but it had like seven different rums and punch in it, so you really didn't know you were getting lit. But you got about halfway through it, and you're like, "Whoa, man, this is it." Well, we drank two of those, and we were toe up from the flow up. Let me tell you,
They had those out there. I don't drink anymore, but it was Long Island iced teas, kind of something like
Long
that.
Island.
They
So
took all
yeah,
the
so this
bottles and
is
just went like that.
yep. So this was Long Island's on steroids, man.
Oh, okay. Did Prince
It was
come in
next
that night?
level.
Was he there that night? Did he walk in the bar?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no. It
good
was
thing.
just us. We realized that they were heading out. We had started getting some just some little birdies was like, man, you guys are gonna go, you guys are gonna go. I think it's gonna happen, and it didn't happen. We found out they were heading out, and it was just like it wasn't time yet, and so that's when we just kind of went and tied one on. It's just like we've been paying dues for like 5 6 years, man. We started what 84,
Mhm.
so it wasn't until what 89 when we really got our opportunity to join the band and
Yeah.
going on the new tour. So
Well, the origin of the Game Boys, what was
mhm.
the name for that?
Prince.
Okay. Oh,
Our
Prince
name
made it.
was our name was Split Level. That
Okay.
was the name of our dance group.
Mhm.
And Prince didn't like it. It he thought it sounded like an architecture firm or something like that. It was something odd because I remember when we saw it printed for the first time, we came to him and was like, our name is not we're not the Game Boys. We're Split Level. And but again, he said it. It was printed. It was done. It was a wrap. There's nothing we
Yeah.
could do to change that. So, and we're like, well, Game Boys. That just sounds like the handheld video game by Nintendo. So, what do you, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, yeah. I was going through some of the history of the gigs, like through on Prince Vault, and because of the shows that I went to and the shows that you played, and I was looking at some of the behind the scenes shows that were canceled and rescheduled. I had one when I went. It was after you guys had long left, but there was a lot of stuff that the fans never knew. If this information is correct, that
Mhm.
shows were always changed at the spur of the moment, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why our sound checks lasted 3 hours plus.
Mhm.
Um, is that there were different arrangements. You know, you realize here in the states and abroad. Um, the hardcore fans, I mean, they're at every single show,
Mm.
right? They
Yeah.
they they pool their money, they save up their money. I remember how blown away I was on our first tour, on the new tour, and we were in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands, and we pulled up to the venue before sound check, and just I mean there's tents and sleeping bags and people lined up for miles just sleeping outside because once they open the doors, it's first come first serve in there. There's no seating arrangements. It's stadium shows.
Yeah, yeah.
So so people are just breaking their necks, man, running into the stadium. I have some video footage a VHS, had a big
Mhm.
VHS. You remember the VHS
Yeah, yeah,
camcorders?
yeah.
And I remember right before the gates were about to open, one of the crew came up and said, "Tony, you guys might want to stand behind the curtain. You might want to film this." And we came up. They said they're about to open the doors, and I went up and stood behind the curtain and just kind of poked the camera out. And them gates opened, man. Just the look of, I don't want to say it was panic,
Uh-huh.
but they were, I mean, these people were running in just trying to get that front row. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you got guys dragging their girlfriends, man, and the girls are just, they realize they're about to fall and they just dive, tuck and roll and don't miss a beat and get back up and keep running, man. I was like, man, this is bizarre. This is absolutely crazy. Um, so, being able to experience that, and, 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 and also being able to, we were new, we were the dancers, and, Diamonds and Pearls hadn't hit yet. So we would just walk out to the crowd in the stadium and just walk around and hear people, discuss, how excited they were to see the show and how many shows they've been to and how much a big fan. And then they'd look around and see us, but not quite know who we were yet.
Mhm.
When we came back through with Diamonds and Pearls, and they would have their tour books, and we'd sneak up behind people and go like, "Who's that big head fool right there?" And they turn around, look, and go, "Oh my God, oh my God!"
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
The
we love that
anonymity
part
was
of it.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that was okay. I mean, again,
Yeah.
Prince was unattainable and untouchable for them,
Right.
right? But we were, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to provide that connection somehow, and just being able to go out and say what's up to people.
Yeah, you interesting. You talk about that first show. You wasn't there torrential rain and did you fall off the stage that
Um,
show?
that
Almost?
wasn't, no, Damon slipped coming down the
Okay.
ramp, and
Okay.
that was in France. I fell off the stage. I think we were in Germany and we were flip flopping stages in this particular venue. um, the wings that went out toward the sides of the stage where you see Prince run up on and hype the crowd on both sides. Well, facing stage left, they had to cut a portion of the wing off, so it didn't go out as far as I thought it went, and they didn't put the glow tape up there, so I couldn't see where it ended.
Oh,
So
okay.
every night I go out to this part on cue, and I do my thing from that area. Well, not thinking. Didn't see any glow tape down. I walked out there and stepped off that stage. And you can imagine if you're stepping, it's not like I didn't trip off of a curb. I
Mm.
fell off of a 10-foot high stadium, a stage, and fell all the way down. All you could hear was a little bit, but I didn't miss a beat. I
Yeah.
didn't miss a beat. Matter of fact, Prince called us all, the whole band into his room to watch the show, and he said, "Let me tell you something right here." And I just came out from behind the speakers, and I just rocked in the
Right.
crowd, and just giving people. He said, "Man, that's it, money." So I got a little bump. So that's Funk Night right there.
Yeah. You guys had that, was it every night? Like a little bonus or
Not not every night, but a lot of times we would have a funk night. So the competition was on. We were all competitors. We were like, man, we the
yeah.
funkiest, or no, Prince is Prince going to be the funkiest, which he always was. But or is it going to be Levi's night? Is it going to be Michael Bland's night? Is it going to be Rosie, Sonny? It could be anybody. So we would always go conjure up our own little ideas as a group. I remember we were in Toronto, and we found people who actually worked with the Maple Leafs,
Okay.
Toronto
Yep.
Maple Leafs, and they got us jerseys. And we knew at this one point in the show we had these white outfits. So we said, "Oh, this is going to match perfect. We'll come out and we'll have the Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys on." So he's out rocking the stage, and it was our time to come out and do our little dance routines. And the crowd just went nuts, right? And Prince couldn't figure out. He said, "Wait a minute, they don't usually go this crazy during this part of the
Right.
show." And he looks to his left and his right, and he goes, yeah." He said, "Where's my jersey at?" He leans over real quietly and he says, "Where's my jersey?
Yeah.
I want one." Well, so we got fined a little bit for that one.
Years later, it was the one night alone tour in Montreal. My wife's originally from Montreal, and Prince came out
Mhm.
with Larry Graham, did Days of Wild, wearing a Montreal Canadian hockey jersey with Prince on the back and number one. So maybe he
See,
copped the idea.
He absolutely did. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's where he got it from. He
Yeah,
got it from
yeah.
the Game Boys. He got
It's
it. That's what
actually
we
he
did.
released through the NPG Music Club Days of Wild. There's like a cassette version, and it's from that night where it was 20-minute version of it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. That's
got to give
absolutely
you guys
where he got it
credit
from.
for that.
You got to give us some props for that one. I appreciate that.
You know, you mentioned, and I've read about some of the stuff. You know, never show, let the audience know about a mistake. I was at Act One at Radio City Music Hall, two of the three shows, and one of the shows, I don't know if you saw this, but Prince wiped out during the ballad section, and he popped right up. You know, he had the
Right.
beads and everything, and
Hmm.
you know, you mentioned falling off the stage, and you know,
Yeah,
what?
it's not a mistake until you make it known, right?
Right?
I probably don't remember seeing it because if it was a ballad, we weren't on stage at the time, so we were
Okay,
probably off stage when it happened.
right?
Um, but yeah, there's been plenty of those instances, man. He said, and it's not a mistake until you make it known. One clip that always comes to my mind, and we laugh about it a lot, was the infamous All Star game
Okay,
when Carl Lewis sang the national anthem,
right?
and he started a couple octaves too high. So when it came to, and he started breaking up and going, and the cardinal sin was he said, "Uh oh,"
Oh,
when he
yeah,
knew
that's
he blew
right.
it. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
He
remember
goes,
it.
uh oh, y'all got to give me a chance, man. And oh my God, we played that back. Even with Prince, we played that little clip back so many times, just fell out laughing. I said, dude, you don't ever say, you just keep it moving.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most people are not going to recognize except the ones running to get the front row.
Exactly. Who come
Yeah,
to every show, right?
right. So, let's get back the story on you finding your voice on the mic, or Prince discovering that you had a great handle on the mic for hip hop, and eventually putting it right into Prince's music. What was that first instance that Prince became aware of that?
Um, so in our downtime, or just not being able to get picked up, um, and being a part of the band or going on a tour, um, we started our own band. We were doing a college circuit, so it was Kirk, myself, Damon, his sister Kathleen,
Hmm.
Kim, Rhonda. So we had our own little band, and I think that's what really gave me the confidence to be out front on
Hmm.
the microphone, because I would start to do those duties when we were writing our own songs and playing covers, but we were also doing originals, and
Right.
so that's when my penmanship started to come into play. So hence going back saying, if it had happened, then I would not have been ready to take advantage of the
Yeah.
situation when it
Right.
came.
Yep.
Right. So we were in, I think we were in France, and Prince was flying back and forth during that new tour, uh, doing finishing touches on Graffiti Bridge. Right, so he had just got back in. Levi was leading sound check at that particular time,
Hmm.
and we were just sound checking, and then we started. What did we went into? I think we just started playing Humpty Dance.
Okay.
Right, I had a guitar, and I walked up to the microphone, and I started spitting the lyrics, not knowing Prince was even in the house. And then all of a sudden, you hear a voice come over the speaker system. Uh, Yeah, that was nice. Can we get into a real sound check now? We're like, oh shit, we're about to get in trouble for real on this one, because we were just clowning, man. We had
Yeah.
went through all of the songs, and we were just playing around.
Right.
Um, Gilbert came up to me after that and said Prince would like to talk to you, and I didn't know what for. I didn't know if it was, maybe he wanted to add something to the dance routines, or something. And so I went back, and he just said, I didn't realize that you have a really good presence. I mean, not just dancing, but a presence on stage, right?
Hmm.
And I heard you doing digital digital underground's Humpty Dance, and I was wondering if we could put that into the show tomorrow night. I go on a wardrobe change here, and I'll just leave the stage to the band, and you come out and do Humpty Dance. I'm like, what? He's giving me the stage?
Wow.
I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely. I can. That's the north side of me.
Right.
Going, absolutely, I'm a knock. I mean, I got you, man. Don't worry about it. Go do your wardrobe change. I got it. But inside, I'm going, oh my God, don't fuck this up, Tony. Don't
Right.
do not mess this up, man. And so luckily, I got through it. We rocked it. Crowd went crazy. He dapped me up at the end of the show. He said, "Man, yeah." He said that's what I like. He said, "Do you happen to have? Do you write lyrics too?" I said, "I absolutely do. I got pads full of lyrics. So when we get off a tour, let's talk a little bit. Not knowing he had already had it in his mind the switch and the pivot he was going to make for
Right.
Diamonds and Pearls,
Right.
right?
Right.
And toward the end of that tour, we actually started recording some music. So I always had my notebooks with me, and I would come in, and it was just jam sessions. He wanted to see how I performed in a studio environment, and they joked and called me one take because I'm not a studio guy. I do not like to be in the studio
Hmm.
for ungodly told hours watching you mix and press buttons and turn faders and add verb and all. That's just not my thing. So I came in and I would knock something out so quickly, and he would just look at me and go, "You got to be kidding me! You're done." I said, "I'm good. Unless you want me to stack some vocals,
Hmm.
I can do that too." So I think as time progressed, he allowed me to actually write my own lyrics. He would give me some direction and say, "Here's here's what the track is about." He would send me home with a cassette, or just send me away with a cassette, and an hour and a half later, I come back with my lyrics and knock them out. And he didn't. He may have changed the way it was structured, but he never changed my words.
Oh, really? Okay.
So where I would
Yeah.
have had, or I had 16 bars structured
Hmm.
for a first verse, he would take it and he may break them up a little bit into different spots.
Right.
Um, so it didn't. For me, it was weird. I wrote in a certain cadence and words flowed to each other, but
Hmm.
that was his producing me at the same time. So
Right.
I wasn't used to being produced. I just
Okay.
felt like he was changing up what I was doing. So as I got more into it, I said, "Oh, I see what he's doing. I see it. I see how that works." That's the visionary. That wasn't in me yet.
Right. And you've got some lines that'll go down when we're all long gone, both of us. 23 positions in a one night stand. And how's your kids' reaction to that part of the career?
It's funny because I didn't discuss my time with Prince
Okay.
with my kids. When I walked away
Hmm.
uh, from it, I walked away. I didn't come to any parties. I didn't do anything. Right.
Hmm.
I went on and I became suburban dad, got married, had kids, coach,
Right.
was Coach Mosley. I was just, I was everything but this musician. And as time went by, I think my daughter, I think she was tooling around in the basement. Our basement was not finished yet, and she saw a poster because I mean, all my plaques, all my awards, everything were shoved up under the house in the basement. I didn't display anything, right?
Hmm.
And she just happens to tool past, and she stops. And she looks at this poster, and this is my wife's account. And she comes back and she tools back around the basement and stops in the room and she goes, "Mama, Daddy was in a band?" And then that kind of started it. Well, the neighbors started. My wife was showing past videos of us performing to some other neighbors, and the
Hmm.
kids happened to see a couple of those, and that's when they started to pick up on what Dad used to do.
Right. Yeah, I'm just happy that the current version of we were the new power generation. I still call, of course, the new MPG new power generation, but you guys
Always
still
be.
put call the law in
Mm.
in the stage set list, right? It's got to be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's got to be there. Yeah, call the laws there, and it's interesting because that's one of the like my son. He sings vocals. So for our First Avenue show,
Hmm. Right.
that we did back in September. We had him singing background vocals, right? And my daughter's like, "Well, wait a minute, I want to get a part of some of this." And
Uh huh.
so she teases me a lot because she'll come up and she'll just start spitting call the law, the lyrics to call the
Right.
law.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows every single word, where she didn't get it at first, but now she knows everything. So yeah, uh, full circle moments
Yeah. Was the video that was primarily at Paisley Park?
for call the law.
Yeah. Where'd you guys
Uh,
record the
w-
video?
I sh- we sh- There were certain sections, like if you see Prince playing the guitar solo, stuff like that. That was out at Paisley, but we shot it in Northside Minneapolis. He gave me the crew. He said, "You guys go shoot your video wherever." So I took it to North Minneapolis on Plymouth Avenue, where the Way was. I
Hmm.
even went and got Spike Moss and a lot of the other people from the Way who we grew up with and hung out with, and we got man, we packed it out. We got the Plymouth Avenue closed, so we shut it on Plymouth Avenue, also North Commons Park, which is another area where we would all go hang out, play basketball, or even have Friday and Saturday night dance parties inside the community center right there. So I
Okay.
shot some stuff there, and then also there was a house, a mansion that we had rented, and that's the scenes in the hot tub and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. All that was shot in that house.
Yeah, and one of my favorite songs, and a lot of stuff that you spit in that song still exists today. Together, right?
Ah, yeah,
Ain't a
isn't
damn
that
thing
funny?
changed. Is that the line
And the
out of there?
damn thing changed. That's it. And how true is that, right?
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. Not a damn thing has changed.
Right. Right.
Uh, uh, Even I think back to a lyric I had in "My Name Is Prince." Still trying to put my foot in the ass of Jim Crow.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
There you go.
it's still going down right now. It's nothing has changed. When I see some of this stuff, people are like, "Oh my," they're all appalled by it. I say, "Man, you guys."
You lived it.
we Yeah, you're living, and we continue to live it every day. So until people want to make that change, or this country decides to make that change, we'll always be here.
Yeah. The TV appearances that you and Prince and the MPG put together, just some. I mean, not too many people topping what you guys did. I'll give you a couple.
Hmm.
Uh, the Kiss, Let's Go Crazy Kiss version on Arsenio, man. That stands out. You know,
Man,
was that one of your favorite on TV, like the mainstream
yeah, I
TV?
think, and that was our main. That was our first big one, right? I
Hmm.
mean, we did some stuff with Tevin Campbell, but to take over Arsenio, that had
Right.
never been done before.
Yep.
Basically, it was a mini concert
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Arsenio Hall. That's,
Right.
I mean, he would cut back and he would ask a couple questions or chat with Patti LaBelle a little bit, but it was on to the next song. So I mean, we basically did a concert, and I just remember him being so happy after we finished taping that segment. And he invited us up to the house out in California
Hmm.
to watch it when it aired that evening. And man, when that show was done, and he took that microphone, tossed that, and then hit,
Yeah.
bam, span it. We went into that dance routine.
Yeah.
He lost his mind, man. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. So the phone calls started coming immediately after it aired, in various places. We hadn't seen it yet because of course, we were on the West Coast.
Okay.
But it aired earlier, and people on the East and the Central, and people were like, "Man, y'all killed it." We hadn't seen it yet, so it was like, yeah, that was probably the first major.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, of course, Ride Divine was another one on
Yeah. Yeah.
ABC.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, it was man, it was a crazy time. It was an exciting time. It was a lot of work, man. I mean, people are just like, man, you guys were the luckiest, and it had to be so much fun. And I remember Levi telling somebody once in an interview, hell no, it wasn't fun. It was work, man. It was
Yeah.
pressure. It
Yeah.
was a matter of fact, if you look at that picture that's behind you right now with me playing guitar,
Yeah. Yeah.
Prince
Right.
allowing me to play guitar on stage,
Right.
you see Prince performing and grinning and playing the audience. You see me focused with a lollipop in my mouth on that guitar because I don't want to miss a damn note.
Yeah. You're right behind one of the greats on that instrument, right? Yeah.
Bro, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm standing here playing guitar and he's allowing me to play. Just so grateful for the opportunities that he provided, for the mentorship that he provided. I remember constant conversations, man, when we were going into Diamonds and Pearls, and he kind of talked to me about the direction he was going, and he
Hmm.
asked me what my thoughts were, and I said absolutely not. Do not add no rap to your set, man. What are you talking about? You just all the bootleg copies that are out right now from the Black album
Hmm.
and Dead on it, and some of the things, man, man, we're gonna get chewed up and spit out,
Right.
and especially me.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you were aware on the websites and crap like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I tried not to pay attention to any of it, and if anyone tells you that they don't read uh, uh, the interviews or the commentary or any of that stuff, they're lies.
Right.
Well, Prince had a way of stoking fire
Hmm.
in individuals. So we were on a couple shows. I think we had I think the album had just came out. There was some negative reviews, and I think Prince purposely put a review like in our dressing room.
Oh,
It's already at the page. Uh, so he knew I'd pick it up and I'd see it and read it. And boy, that night there was hell to pay. Tone's
Wow.
coming in hot.
Yeah. That's like the sticking the quote from the NBA team against the bulletin board, right?
That absolutely.
Just
He
like
gave me
that.
bulletin board material, man. But
Right.
again, we would have serious conversations, and he just said, Tony, I don't let anyone dictate where I go next. I go where wherever the music takes me or wherever I'm feeling right now. I don't concern myself with how my fans may take it. It's me
Mhm.
creating. This is my vision. This is what I'm feeling right now. So either you come aboard or you don't. It's all good. This is what I'm going to do. So I need you to be able to take that approach, and not worry about what everybody in hip hop is going to say about you
Right.
coming out. I put you in in this role. You are killing it. I had his utmost confidence. People say, "Well, Tony, you were the first rapper," and I always like to clarify this, is that I was not the first rapper with Prince.
TC?
T. Ellis,
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
my man David, right?
Right.
And we grew up in St. Paul's. We've been knowing each other since Shorty. So I always want to give TC his props.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, good
I,
guy.
I I was just I was the one who was given the vehicle to actually do it in Prince's band.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. David TC Ellis, yeah, great guy.
my brother.
Yeah. So when's the last time you spoke with Prince prior to his passing?
Um, it was we went out to a party. I
Okay.
remember I finally showed up at a after party out at Paisley, and that's when we chatted. We laughed a lot. We joked uh, about things that had happened in the past, and so it was a good conversation. I just remember it being a fun and joking conversation. It wasn't too serious. He was happy to see me. He always asked about why I never came out to anything, and I always told him, I said, Prince, when I walked away, I it's hard for us to transition as artists, especially if you have to transition to a day job,
Right,
for
right.
instance, and or just transition in life. And for me, if I'd have kept coming back, you'd have kept sucking me back into the studio. I'd have been recording this or recording that, and I had to walk away. So for me, walking away was just cutting it off uh,
Mhm.
altogether. And so, he respected that, but he still wished I had came out to some more things. People want to see you. The fans always ask, "Where's Tony M? Where's Tony
Right,
M?" And it was a way for me to be able to transition and get my head into a space where I knew I had to be,
right.
and that was again supporting my family, supporting my wife, and not getting caught up into that lifestyle again.
Yeah. Well, you guys ended on a really positive note, and you know the good
We
thing,
did.
as sad as I'm sure, because personally, your personal friend with Prince is as sad as his passing. It's great to see the musicians who helped Prince create this great legacy have continued along. I just wish you guys did more dates. That's my thing with the New
Yeah,
Power
I know. Especially
generation.
in the states, we've been
Yeah.
challenging these promoters, and
Because weren't
uh,
you scared? Well, this one we were living in Connecticut. You were supposed to
mhm.
do New Orleans, Connecticut. Did you do that gig?
I don't know if we
I
did
think
Connecticut at
pandemic
all.
came in, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, pandemic hit. We had a show in Chicago that one of us got COVID, and we had to
Okay.
cancel
Right.
that show. And then everybody got home and got sick, and that's yeah, the pandemic happened, and that took us out of 2 years worth of work.
Yeah.
Especially when we had first jumped in, and at that time, and we looked at it like this, especially after we did the celebration
Hmm.
of life at the XL Center for Prince, and Stevie Wonder, we had the whole lineup,
Right.
and we knew, there were going to be a lot of bands, and I hate to call them cover bands um, or whatever, but our thought process was like, who better to go out and represent this music and play this music than people who created it with him, right?
Right.
Um, Especially in the Diamonds and Pearls era.
Hmm.
Those were collaborative efforts with the whole band. It wasn't just Prince coming in saying, "Here's the music, learn it and go." We actually created these grooves in the studios with him, so we were part of that process. So who better to do it than
Yeah.
us?
Hey, we could quickly talk about a big gig you got revisiting First Avenue in July, and Sonny T. I guess he's not doing the gig. I think he's in Italy right now. But
He is in Italy. Yep, with
Brown
Georgia.
Mark coming in to lay down the four string, right?
Bruh, that's a huge get right now, right? So it's been something that we have been working on from a collective NPG standpoint to try to get us all on a show together, right? I mean, how funky would that be,
Yeah,
man? You got the NPG, you got the time,
yeah.
you got the Revolution. All of us to get together and just do one good string of shows, man. I mean, that's what the fans want to see.
It'd
Uh,
be
you
nice
know,
to
uh,
do a festival, like
oh,
like a package
absolutely,
tour like that. I mean, they got the groups
absolutely.
doing Cameo, Zap, and all them, but let's get
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Minneapolis crew. Yeah,
And do the Minneapolis sound,
yeah,
right? And I mean, because then people, we do it well, and because we had to, and that's one thing we joke about, but it's really not a running joke. Is that not everybody can do the NPG, but the
mm,
NPG can do the Revolution songs, can do because we had to rehearse those. Those were the hits that we had to learn how to play.
right, right,
Now, I would rather see them, the Revolution, do their thing, and then MPG does theirs, and the Time is always going to do their thing, right? So,
right.
being able to separate that, but we're in a space where now where we're trying to lock that in, and we would love for that to happen.
Yeah, I got a question from my wife. My wife was a ballroom dance champ, and the
Mm,
aches and pains and the injuries from dancing. I
yeah.
know Kirk and Damon have their own problems. How about you? And Prince, of course, had his. But how about yourself? What's the damage?
I've got hip damage, so I'm probably going to need some hip work being done here pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Um, Knees are not bad. I know Kirk just had his knee work
Yeah,
done, and
right. Yeah,
some other things, and so yeah. But for the most part, I'm no wearier for the work, man. I wouldn't change a thing. Again, it's not only just the dancing. I played basketball and football, so it comes with the territory and then age, right? You get out the bed, you barely move, and you're like, oh, where'd that come from?
yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah, it's
but
like
for the most part, I feel blessed, man.
yeah, you feel like you wake up and stagger into the bathroom or something like that in the morning.
That's it. You have well, that and you're getting older, so you're always getting up and going to the bathroom. So
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'm just thrilled when I get one peaceful night's of sleep without having to get up and go to the bathrooms.
Hey, we're our age bracket. We're all going through the similar stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. I'm going to give you the final question. Always in my mind, the Cream extended CD release with the multi mixes.
Hmm.
That's the skit in there when the prank call. Calling. I know Kirk's voice is in there, but
Uh-huh.
try to give us some information on how that went down in the studio and who were you guys calling?
So it was a real prank. We did a lot of these, and we would just Prince was a prankster, man. So we would just call up. He heard about one individual. His name was Morris, and he Prince must have saw an interview or a write up where Prince like I've never liked this guy says I've never liked Prince. He was a local musician. I don't like his music, and I never liked Prince, and blah blah blah. So we called him up on a prank, and then Kirk goes into "What's up with you?" and then all of a sudden it just escalates into this "F you, no F you," blah, 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 click, and man, we were dying.
Oh,
But that was a real call, man, and it took everything for Kirk not to break character. And Prince, man, we're just on mute, man. We're in the studio muted, and we're trying to mute the microphones, and he's just on the floor busting up, man. We couldn't believe it went that well.
anything off the top of your mind, video or audio that you would love to see the light of day from the estate? Because I'm sure there's
Um,
tons of stuff,
there's a
concerts.
ton, but like we were working so much, so you don't even recall. I mean, I remember when we were going through tracks for the re-release of the Diamonds and Pearls album,
Right.
and they were playing tracks to me. Dwayne and them were playing tracks to me that were going to be released, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even remember doing that.
Wow.
Then you hear and you go, oh my god, that was this date. We cut that, or we cut this in London, or so. I mean, just I couldn't pinpoint anything. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's a ton that I
Yeah.
would love to see. We were working so much, and there are plenty of shows that I know is just on fire, and I would love to see those released. But I think hopefully, uh, as we've been working toward with the estate to better cultivate. some of this music and his legacy,
Hmm.
that we stay involved in helping package and release some of this stuff and what we know that the fans are really looking for.
Yeah, well, we got an amazing Glam Slam show from that latest release. Kudos to you and Prince and the band. That was amazing.
Woo, that was
Yeah,
fire, man.
yeah,
Those are the toughest gigs to do, are the home shows, man. Right? Uh, it's friends, family. You want to put on your best.
yeah,
So those are spots. I'd say Minneapolis, LA, and New York are probably the hardest spots. You can go to some places like Detroit, it's going to be party. You go to
right.
DC, it's going to be rocking. You know what I mean? There are certain places that you go, you just know they just came to make noise and the party. Other
Mhm.
places you kind of know that the stars are out and the people who are there to critique are there. So you want to be able to make sure that you slap them in the face
Yeah.
right off the jump. Radio City was one example.
Oh,
We came
yeah.
in there, we came in hot
Yep.
and then Glam Slam was the first time they introduced the actual band. So we wanted to make sure that we gave the best impression
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely people pick up that box set. I know it's not the cheapest set, but it's well worth it with all the audio unreleased and the video and the Special Olympics rehearsal and performance. That's
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So
And
that I'm glad you
yeah,
pointed that out. That's one thing to mention is that yeah, it's a little spendy, but the it's a beautiful package and the curated sound that a lot of people have never heard.
yeah,
There's a lot of additional music in there for you to enjoy or uh, to re to re up on, basically.
yeah. I love Prince joking with you, pulling up your pant leg. What was that about in the rehearsal?
Dude, dude, who knows? Prince, he had a way of just surprising you on stuff. I remember we were doing one show, and Prince walked up behind Levi and took his guitar and went up between his legs while Levi's standing there playing guitar solo. All of a sudden, here's his guitar neck coming up between his legs. So he just had a way of just of keeping you on your toes,
Right.
and then seeing how you reacted to change, right?
Hmm.
Because you get regimented right in your
Right.
shows, so that's why he kept these sound checks. He kept the set list fresh, so that we just did get comfortable and it just didn't become mundane. Because let me tell you, when you're on a 80 something city or 80 something tour show after 3 months, man, you need something to spice it up for yourself and then
Yeah.
for the fans. So it gave us an opportunity. That's why we've learned so many different arrangements on songs. So that's probably the one thing that was the toughest to do, was to remember which arrangement is he talking about now.
Mm.
So because we did so many.
Yeah. Well, I got to thank you for being a big part of my musical life and seeing you in concert and continuing the MPG and Prince tradition. So look forward
But
to
thank
what's
you.
what's to come.
What's to come, man? Well, we're working on new stuff right now. We've got some bangers. So it's us as a collective creating on our own and being able to put that new music out here. So that's what we're looking forward to, man. Just working
Right.
on new music and getting it out there to the people who want to hear that.
Yeah. You'll be heading back to the Twin Cities July and people go out to First Ave, the legendary
First
First Ave.
Avenue,
Yeah.
July 10th. We're back in our old haunts.
Yep.
It's funny, whenever we walked in, you walk in the first place I looked to was that balcony where we were dancing on, and the bathroom where we were discovered.
Yeah. Has it changed much?
Nope.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the New York club, like a bitter end CBGB's is like, man, this place got the worst bathrooms around, but it's like a legendary spot.
But it's a legendary spot, boy. It hasn't
Yeah.
changed, not one
Yeah.
bit.
Right. So, hey, thanks, brother. Thanks, Tony M. Tony
I
Mosley.
appreciate you, Joe. Appreciate you
Yeah.
for having me anytime.
Yeah. Love to you and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate it, boss.
All right. Thanks.
What's happening, y'all? It's your man, Tony M, in the building, hanging with my man, Joe Kelley. And you are watching Musicians Reveal, right? He finally had me in the house, y'all. Can you believe it? He opened the door.